Hey guys, Mr. Burick here. How are ya? Hey, I thought we would do something a little bit different today. Today I'm going to give you guys a tour of my tiny home. We've talked a little bit about it before. I've showed you guys a couple pictures. But today we're going to do a full all access tour of my tiny home. So, first thing, typical tiny homes, 3 to maybe 400 square feet. So maybe to put that into perspective for you, that's maybe about the size of your kitchen and your living room maybe put together. That would be roughly 300, 400 square feet. My tiny home is 84 square feet. So to put that into perspective, my entire house is about the size of your bathroom. That's how tiny it is. 84 square feet. I've been doing that for about 8 years now. And in that time, I have actually learned a few really important things about tiny living. So, the two big things is first, you have to be super, super neat, super clean. When you're in a really small space, cleanliness counts. The other thing is that you can't have a lot of stuff. Literally, if I have a spoon and I set it down on my kitchen counter, I've got a mess. So you got to have a minimum of stuff. So the first when I first started tiny living, I got rid of most of my stuff, but I found the things that I did have, I kind of had to Tetris and stack. And then if I wanted that thing, I had to untetris, like kind of unstack everything, grab what you wanted, kind of restack. And it was very time consuming and very frustrating. I got rid of a lot more stuff. And that worked really, really well. So super neat and a minimum of stuff. So that has worked for me. And just to give you guys some additional perspective, so my house before this was 3,500 square feet. It was enormous. And that didn't really work for me. Ton of maintenance, ton of upkeep. It felt like a huge hassle. And from the early times when I thought about tiny living, it just always really, really appealed to me. So I decided that I was going to do that. So I had to make a decision. Am I gonna build something from scratch? Am I gonna remodel something? Am I gonna adapt something? So what I decided to do is I bought a vintage Cerro Scotty travel trailer. They were built back in the late 50s through the early 90s in my hometown of Pennsylvania, near Irwin, Pennsylvania. So my brother and I, we bought a Cerro Scotty, and over the course of about 6 months, we ripped it into a million pieces, fully rebuilt it as a tiny home. So that means we used regular home appliances. We used regular residential countertops, like regular countertops, regular flooring, all the things that you'd find in a regular everyday home. We used those same materials to completely rebuild this Cerro Scotty travel trailer. It was an absolutely amazing experience. Looking back, I would totally do that again. So without further ado, I'm going to give you guys the full tour. So the first thing that we are going to look at is my tiny kitchen. So that's my whole kitchen area right there. We're going to kind of go through things bit by bit. First thing that I would show you guys is I own actually a very, very rare model. So this is the Cerro Scotty Tonga. And I own one of 3 that were ever made. So this is a fairly rare model, and the Tonga refers to the fact that the kitchen is in the front of the vintage trailer. So in my kitchen, I have a microwave, and I have a 2-burner cooktop. So again, within tiny living, you have to be creative with spaces. So any extra space I use for more storage. So instead of having this colander in one of my cabinets taking up space, it goes down inside the pot. My microwave, when I'm not using it, it holds all of my coffee supplies. Acts as a little cupboard. And you guys can see my vintage fan from the 1950s. It actually does work. It works really, really well. My little vintage fan. And here is my 1950s radio. Now, that radio was non-functional, so what I did is I ripped out all of the broken guts and I wired it up with modern Bluetooth speakers, so I can stream music from my phone into the vintage radio. It's really, really cool. My little tiny sink. And there's my little tiki guy, my canisters. And we're going to pan around to the bathroom door, so I'm going to step back a little bit. So that right there is my bathroom door. Got a very tiny bathroom in here, so, and there's my shower. I've got a beautiful little skylight in here, nice blue sky, and a little bit of decoration there. So fully functional bathroom in my little tiny home. Beside that is my clothes closet. So open that up and show you guys. So again, you can't have a ton of stuff, so just the essentials. And then also, I don't have a lot of space on the walls for photos. So what I did was I used the inside of the cupboard doors for family photos. So the very bottom is my grandma, the middle photo is my grandfather, and then that upper photo is friends of my grandma and grandpap. I love that photo. And then on the other side of that, my grandfather was in World War II, so I have his certificate for meritorious service. That means good service while he was in the military. And then, guess which one's my grandpap? If you guys know me, you already know that he's the shortest guy in the picture. So he's the little guy in the middle. That was my grandpap. That's where I get my height. And then, if you had somebody serving in the military during World War II, you would put this in one of the windows of your house or your front door, and it let the community know that you had somebody serving in the military. So there's my clothes closet. Next is my tiny fridge. That's that off-white colored thing right there. So I'm going to open that up for you guys. My fridge is very, very small. So I typically will do my grocery shopping about once a week, which you get used to. And then my freezer is ridiculously tiny. It's about the size of a shoebox. So again, I have to go shopping usually about once a week or so for my food. Down below is my air conditioner. Actually works really, really well. Keeps it nice and cool in here in the summertime. And then the bedroom area. So that's a full-size bed. And the curtains are made out of vintage bark cloth. So if you would actually feel this material, it feels real rough like tree bark. So I found new old stock. I found original bark cloth on eBay in the tiki pattern. And my sister made those curtains for me. And then I found a gentleman in California, and his specialty is vintage lampshades for vintage trailers. That's all he does. So I bought those. Up above here, you guys can see some doors. That is just extra storage. And again, not a lot to store. I do try to keep things to an absolute minimum. A nice little benefit of this is if you pop that tab and you pop that tab, that whole thing folds down and there's actually a bunk bed up there. So somebody can actually sleep up there in that little loft area. Also, right in the middle, I have another skylight for nice blue sky. The little skylights are one of my favorite features of my tiny home. It lets in so much light and fresh air. I just love it. As far as technology, there's my iMac. That functions as my computer, my television, my music source. It's an all-in-one solution for all my tech. Works perfect for me. I absolutely love it. I'm going to go back, pan back here a little bit. I did the artwork for the walls. Originally, though, that was going to be temporary. That art was going to be temporary until I found something that I really liked. But I ended up just really liking those, so I kept it. Let me pan down here to this crazy looking lamp. So if I had to pick one thing in my tiny home that I like the most, it would be this crazy looking lamp. So this was actually 3 broken lamps that I cobbled together into one functional lamp. It's got this weird antenna Sputnik kind of looking top on it. And then something that was popular back in the 50s was gilded gold ceramics. So you'll notice that this is actually shiny bright gold on that. And then to match, I found this really crazy looking vintage ashtray with gilded gold also at a antique shop. And although I don't smoke, I just thought it was really, really cool. You guys will also notice the countertop material, which is also a vintage style. This style was called Vervar, and it is a mid-century design, a 1950s design. I have that on the kitchen cabinets and also this main center table here. And then no 1950s travel trailer would be complete without the tacky pink flamingo. And down below, another picture of my grandpap in the Army. I want to move over here to the furnace. I do have a small propane furnace in here. It is a little bit noisy, so I typically don't run it. Instead, I have a small oil-filled radiator that works absolutely wonderful. It's totally silent. Keeps the entire place warm in the winter for me with no problem at all. I do like it kind of warm inside. And then down below here, we have some extra storage bins right there. I want to go down to the floor and show you guys something on the floor. So the floor is made out of marmoleum. It kind of came before linoleum did. And you guys will see the floor is brown and then it's got that black band around it. Well, that black band is it's called welding rods. I don't know why it got that name, but essentially what they would do in the late 1940s, early 1950s, they would come out an inch or 2 or 3 from the cabinets and they would run this band the entire way around the kitchen floor as a decorative feature, and it's called welding rods. This is one of the most difficult things that we did. Although it does look simple, it was actually super, super hard to do. It took a long time to perfect and get it right. So it goes the entire way around the travel trailer, the whole way around. So I'm going to take you guys outside here for a look at the outside of my travel trailer, and then we will wrap it up. Actually, before I do that, I want to tell you guys how inexpensive and efficient tiny living is. So, my total monthly living expenses: water, sewage, electric, cable, internet, rent, the lot rent, everything, A to Z, my total monthly living expenses, $350. Just a crazy inexpensive way to live. Always lots of money left over if you want to do a vacation, or I want to buy another motorcycle, or whatever it is. You end up living so super efficiently that there's always plenty of money left over for other things in life. So with that, I'm going to take you guys outside here, and I'm going to show you the outside of my tiny home. It is turquoise and white, like the original colors, and show you a couple other little features. So we're going to step outside here. Little plaque that I laser cut with my name on it. And we're going to pan back here. Keep going there. So that is the outside of my tiny home. And the mailbox, I designed and built that myself. Made it at a local tech shop, laser cut all of that. And the planters to your right, I just put out just a few weeks ago. So that is the outside of my tiny home. So guys, I really hope that you guys all enjoyed this. If you have any questions, please ask. Be happy to answer it. Love talking about my tiny home. And you guys have a great holiday weekend.